The opinions expressed by the host and guests in this show are not necessarily the views of Children's Health Defense.
Of May 2025. Sorry, I think I was muted there. But good morning, everybody, is what I was trying to say. But we got a busy show today. I've got Josh Coleman on in a second, and then Sally Fallon is coming on from the Weston A Price Foundation, and we're going to be talking about a lot of good stuff there, especially the seed oils and the butter and all that drama that's going on. And then, as in May, for all of May, we are going to be talking about how vaccines can and do cause death, and we will be showing as many dead baby and dead toddler stories as we have, so that people really get across that these vaccines are incredibly dangerous. So that is going to be coming up at the end of the show. But first, how many of you have seen the Josh Coleman video that's gone out and sort of gone viral, but some of you may not have seen it because of the censorship? So I'm going to bring on Josh Coleman right now. Good morning, Josh.
Good morning.
It's very early in California. We really appreciate you to be live with us this morning.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, it's not even 7 a.m. yet.
All right, we're going to talk about the censorship in a minute. But first thing, it's a brilliant video. I mean, it's just genius. And so thank you for doing that. And on behalf of Billy and all those, because you don't have to do this, Josh. Your child does not have autism. Your child is vaccine injured, but it doesn't have autism. So I guess that's my first question. Thank you for caring about our kids. And why do you care?
Well, even though I'm not quite in the autism family, I do feel like, anybody with autism in their family are my brothers and sisters, because so much of that is vaccine injury. And of course, my son is vaccine injured. So anybody who has a child with autism, that could have been my child as well. And in fact, Otto kind of got an autism diagnosis when he was very young, but he clearly doesn't have autism. But, being on the bus and recording all those interviews with you back in 2016, I saw the full range of autism. We probably, we did, close to 800 interviews, you and I, and, probably over 700 of them had to do with autism. And I saw the full range. I saw from high functioning to something in the middle, and all the way to the severe, like you're seeing right now. And a lot of these times when we shot the severe autistic, we had to go to their homes because they couldn't come out. They couldn't even come out of the house for an hour to come see us and be interviewed. So it's been very irritating that most of the world thinks that autism resembles Rain Man. And there's this narrative going around that maybe it's a gift. And that trying to solve or trying to prevent autism from happening could be equated to eugenics. And I've been irritated with this for at least 9 years. I mean, I don't know if you remember we were protested in Kansas City at a screening of Vaxxed in 2016. It was a lot of neurodiverse, which I didn't realize at first when I first started kind of arguing with these guys. And then I slowly kind of figured out, oh no, they're all autistic. And then I remember Andy telling me, you're not going to get anywhere with them, because I stood there and tried to have a conversation with them. But it's very irritating to me that these people are basically, they're, as we call them in the video, unseen or invisible. And the autistic are such a large demographic, and if they're saying there's 3 million autistic people in the country and roughly 25% of them are severe, that's over 800,000 people that have symptoms and are living a life that nobody has any idea that they're living that way, and as you see edited in the video, you see the news talking about it, and you see podcasters, and they're laughing. They're literally laughing at what Bobby is saying because they think it is so absurd. But of course, what he's saying is really true. So these people should not be invisible, and if we're going to help them, if we are going to help and hopefully prevent autism someday, they need to be acknowledged and seen, and it needs to be understood that this is not a gift. Look at that. That is not a gift.
Yeah, that's right, Josh. And we, again, we did see it firsthand. I mean, I've got my life with Billy, but then we saw some parents that had bruises and cuts, and almost they had to wear helmets because of the physical abuse they would get. And what upsets me more than anything else is, why are you this label of autism? So the people that go, hi, I'm a journalist and I have autism and I'm fine and I can use the toilet and all that kind of stuff. Okay, well, whatever you've got, whatever you say you've got, is nothing compared to the people that we filmed, and including my Billy. It shouldn't even be the same name. I mean, it's vaccine injury is what we call it.
Right. Well, I think, yeah, and they share the same symptoms to a certain extent, and probably neuroinflammation. But obviously, the worse it is, the worse it is. And I'll tell you, one of the difficult things about this video is I knew that people going in and watching and seeing the severe autistic were going to say, oh, well, these people have a lot of other things going on. Okay, maybe they have autism, but they obviously have all these other issues. Well, I mean, that goes hand in hand with severe autism. I don't think you and I ever met anybody who was just severely autistic in the head and didn't have many other health problems going on. So, in the video, I tried to prepare people for what they were about to see so that they wouldn't just shut down, that they would understand that this is, it's not just something necessarily in the head, unless you're high functioning autistic. And even then, that the high functioning usually have issues too, beyond just thinking a little bit differently and being a little quirky.
And here's the thing. Every single one of the stories that we did on the bus, every single one of severe autism, all said the same thing. Their child was born perfectly healthy until they had a set of vaccines. And then it took it into that level. And so when these people are screaming, let's talk about the trolls for a second. I don't know what you call these people that hit out at us. So first of all, let's just go this way. Okay, Josh. First of all, you have a healthy baby and you do as you're told, and you go to the pediatrician and you trust your pediatrician, and your pediatrician gives you the vaccines, and then your kid has a seizure or whatever the situation is, and it gets worse and worse and worse until it doesn't recognize you as a parent anymore. So you now have severe autism. So then you try and go back to your doctor and you say, listen, this happened. You're not going back to attack the doctor. You're going back to ask for answers, but they attack you and they tell you you're crazy and it's not the vaccines. You then think, well, I'll go on social media and see if there's someone else out there that can help me. And you get attacked. You're nuts. You're crazy. Your child was like this. You just want something to blame. It's a really horrible journey for a parent to go on, isn't it?
Well, and they make it so difficult for you to have this conversation, which is all by design, obviously. Right now, people are saying to me online for sharing this video, you hate people with autism, which is completely the contrary. I want to help them. I want to make things better. I'd like to stop this from happening to anybody in the future. I want them to be happy, fully functioning human beings. And so, no, I don't hate anybody with autism. It's almost like if you said you wanted to rid the world of cancer, and then they said, oh, you hate people with cancer. No, it is completely absurd, but it is really, when I've had a conversation with people, it is very hard to talk about, to say they're not normal, and for them not to turn that around on you and go, you're saying they're not normal? So the video was very, very helpful, in being able to explain the different levels of autism very, very simply and very kindly, as kind as I could possibly be, and I don't want people to forget that, I love that this has gone viral within the community and that people are enjoying it, but this is a tool for everybody. So this is a tool for anyone who is out there and having these conversations, and they see these posts on whatever social media platform it may be, or if you're having a conversation with a coworker. The video is not all that long, and if you can get them to sit and watch it, I think that most people are going to find out, oh, this is bigger and much more different and varied than I ever had any idea. So it is a tool. So please use it in that capacity.
Yeah, let's talk about how it's been censored, because we haven't seen something be censored to this degree for some time. I just want to say to the audience that this is the thing. We're not in this for clicks and likes or whatever it is that people make videos for. Okay, we don't care how many people view it. What we care about is getting this information out to educate people and make sure this stops. So Josh, tell them because the minute you put Children's Health Defence on something, or they did attack us, CHD TV, they don't want anything to do with us. So Josh has come up with a solution of how we can get this out. Go for it, Josh.
Well, yeah, we talked about this yesterday, and so I mean, when you create content, you like to see people come to the website and then see the other content that's there. But yeah, this video is being very censored, even though Mark Zuckerberg said he was paring it down when Trump came into office. I don't necessarily think that that's true. In fact, I feel like personally I've seen a little bit more censorship lately. But anyways, to circumvent that, we are now going to make the video available for you to download. So anybody can download it and upload it to their own platform, whether it's, Twitter or X, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, whatever. So you go to tinyurl.com/unseen severe autism. There's the video file. You can download it and you can upload it. And so the more people that upload it and the more that we can kind of flood the system with that, the easier it is going to be able to get it out and circulating and for people to see it. And because it's not going to have my name attached to it. It's not going to be coming from my account. It's not going to be coming from Polly's account or from CHD. It'll be coming from your own personal page, which might not have as much censorship as some of these other pages are. So please, we welcome everybody to download the video and upload it.
And didn't the mother with the child that's smacking his head, didn't she say it was taken down when she tried to share it?
Yeah, she was one of the ones that said, she uploaded it to, she shared it on Facebook and had that taken down. And I saw some other people complaining about that as well.
Okay, so for people watching right now and say, well, I don't have a severely autistic child, so I don't really see what's got to do with me. It's not really just about that. You were actually, because Bobby was hit out for, you talk about how you're answering Bobby's questions.
Yeah, Bobby did his first press conference as HHS Secretary, and right off the bat, the first thing he goes for is autism, the most controversial thing he could talk about, and of course he was very attacked, and very deliberately they misrepresented what he said. He was very specific, saying he wanted to prevent the suffering of the children. He talked about it being the 25%, the mostly nonverbal. And so obviously he's talking about the severely autistic. He called them low functioning autistic. He's talking about the severe, and he was attacked. And what they did is they brought the most articulate, high functioning autistic people to come out and say how offended they were at what he said. Now, obviously he was not talking about the high functioning. It was amazing. I had so much footage that I couldn't put in there, but people saying, I run my own company and every employee that I have is autistic, and it's like, yeah, no, that's not what he was talking about, and he couldn't have been more specific. He talked about being nonverbal, head banging, all those things, and people laughed at it quite a lot. I just saw a clip from John Oliver. I think it's pretty new, and they were laughing at the bathroom issues that he talked about, that many won't use a toilet unassisted, and they're laughing at it. And I cannot imagine the frustration from an autism parent who has a child like that, or even an adult like that can't use the bathroom on their own, and they're hearing the public laughing at them. Most people have no idea these people exist in this capacity, and it's absolutely awful. And so I'm glad that this is kind of can clear that up for some people. But again, this is all by design. Obviously something is causing this to happen, or is the primary cause for these issues to happen, and they don't want to be discovered. They want to be able to keep hawking their product, and so this is part of what they do to kind of shift people's mindsets. But autism is not normal, and it is not a gift, and it does in fact destroy families, as Bobby said. And if it can be prevented, there'd be a lot more happy people in this world.
Yeah, I mean, I remember going to Michelle Guppy's house with you. I mean, Michelle Guppy, by the way, everybody, is just an amazing human being. Her son is the one having the terrible seizure in Josh's film and biting his hand, so it's swollen. So, I mean, she doesn't even know when he has a seizure if he's going to live or die, and that's her everyday life. He's completely destroying her other son. Absolutely fine. He's like a big military fighting whatever guy, and they can't go anywhere together, and ever, any more than John and I can go anywhere together, actually, to be honest with you. But it's a miserable, it is miserable out there, and these parents are fighting so hard, and they just get attacked the whole time. So please, if you can share this video and get it out on your platform, because CHD, we're only on X, and we're really shadow banned on X, by the way, super shadow banned. People just say it keeps coming and going, sensitive content, and then big cross in it, and you can't see it, and they can't share it, and all that kind of stuff. We're taken down from Instagram. We're taken down from Facebook. We're not taken down from TikTok. I don't even know what the other ones are, but we're not on any of these platforms. It's just X, really, and maybe Rumble or Telegram or something like that. So what other platforms, and whatever you've got out there, if you can share this and get it out there, it's super important. And Josh, the other thing is people are sending us so much footage of their kids headbanging and tearing up stuff. I mean, what do we do with it?
Well, I almost feel like maybe we should start a hashtag, like hashtag severe autistic or hashtag severely autistic, something like that, and people start uploading that footage because, yeah, I mean, they're doing that because they want their kids to be seen. You know, that people are sharing these personal moments, not because they're proud of them, not because they're like, oh, wow, look at this, you know, look at my kid, you know, hitting the home run at the baseball game. They understand the importance, and they're showing people the privacy, you know, some deep privacy, you know. I mean, I wouldn't want to show my son being hurt or going through a bad moment or crying or anything like that. They're doing this for the world. They're doing this for everyone. This is important stuff. I'm glad it's getting circulated, and people need to look at it.
Yeah, and you did it so brilliantly as well, Josh. So thank you so much for that. I mean, it's so sensitively done. I was just super proud of you for that. You're very talented at doing what you do. How can people contact you and follow you? You're on social media, or are you banned as well? Are you still there?
Yeah, I got banned on Instagram last year. I'm still trying to recover that account, but you know, I'm on Facebook under Joshua Coleman. Then you can follow, you know, like my public demonstration type campaigns on V is for Vaccine, Instagram, VisForVaccine.com. We just went and protested Dr. Fauci in Saratoga, Florida. He was speaking there, selling tickets $500, $600 a pop. Sold out 2 shows. I think they brought in probably at least $1 million to see this idiot talk. So,
what was Fauci talking about?
I'm sorry?
What was I thought Fauci?
Oh, I have no idea. Who knows what that guy's talking about? How he saved the world after he helped infect the world with COVID and then told people how to treat it.
Well, we're right now, Josh, we're in May. You probably heard me say this at the beginning of the show. We are really, really going heavy on how you can die. I mean, do you remember when we first did our first dead baby story? It was Carrie Bundy's baby.
Yeah,
really shocked us, didn't it?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, and I've always talked about, I feel like Carrie Bundy is where we started finally thinking about not being on the road, flying from place to place, but actually having the bus. Because Carrie, when we heard that her baby had died, we said, okay, we can't just go do this in the parking lot or the lobby of the movie theaters, which was what we were doing for the first couple months. We said, okay, we need to go to her home and give her the time to tell this story. And after we did that and we watched the story, we said, wow, every parent needs to have the time to adequately express their story. And so then, of course, we went on pause and came back with the bus so we could do that. But yeah, very, very powerful. And I'll tell you, you know, as I was digging through all that footage, trying to find these severely autistic stories, you know, I saw some of the death stories. I saw some of the faces of the mothers, and they're burned into my brain. And it just even seeing them and being reminded of what they went through and seeing the pain in their face. It just seeing their face, it like, you know, it hit me like in the heart. You know, it's just, it's really, you know, just hard to even imagine somebody going through that. And of course, it could have been my son, it could have been your son. You know, in a way, you know, we got lucky. You know, we both have seen how much worse it can get.
Yeah, I mean, horrific. And it's going to be a hard month for you viewers to watch these, but you've got to watch them. You've got to share them. Maybe downloading these things is the way to go. I don't know how we get past this crazy censorship, but I know that we can. And you know what, Josh, what do you think? I think the people are going to win this. There's no one doctor, one scientist, one politician. It is the people en masse.
Right, and that's something people need to remember. You know, I think it just seems like the last few years people are getting a little bit like, okay, we're good. And now that Bobby's won HHS, has gotten into HHS, people are kind of like, okay, throwing up their hands like we're good. No, we all need to keep working. We all need to keep talking and sharing and educating the people around us, because we're not there yet. We really aren't. And, and hopefully, Bobby's going to solve everything in the world, but, it's going to take all of us. It really is going to take all of us. So don't get lazy. This is probably the time we should be working harder than ever before.
I completely agree. And doing things like you've just done, hit back with, no, this is always with the mainstream media. We have to hit back every single time. And that's us, the people. Josh Coleman, you're not only you're a really, really good friend of mine, so I really appreciate everything you've done, but you are literally the most talented cameraman, editor that I've ever met. So it's always a pleasure working with you. It's wonderful having you on this morning.
Thank you. I'm so glad we were able to turn that out.
Yeah. All right, everybody, share Josh's. Just give up the URL one more time.
Yep, tinyurl.com/unseen severe autism.
Okay, everyone, share it. Everyone, get back to us with how it's doing. If you're getting banned or something, let us know, and we'll just have to keep shouting out about it. But thank you, Josh, for being here so early this morning.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
All right. Okay, everybody. Well, now I'm really excited. We've got Fallon Morell here with us from Weston A Price Foundation. So good morning, Sally. Thank you for waiting.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. No, well, I'm glad to have seen that. We'll definitely put that on our website.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it's important. Josh does important work standing up for our kids. So seed oils versus butter and fats. And this is what we want to talk about now. But someone said to me literally yesterday, what are you talking about? What even is a seed oil? So let's start with that. What is a seed oil?
Yes, most people don't realize that the oils that we cook in, the spreads, the margarines, but they're mostly unseen. They're in the potato chips, they're in the cookies, they're in the pastries, they're in the French fries. Okay, we don't see those, but they are industrial seed oils that are pressed out of seeds. And this was not possible until the 1890s when they developed the stainless steel roller press. What comes out of those seeds looks like smelly, thick black gunk that you would never consume. It's completely repulsive. But then it goes through a refining process that heats these oils at least 4 times to very high temperatures. And these are polyunsaturated oils, so they're very fragile. And every time they're heated, they start to break down. And that's what we're putting in our bodies. That's what we've been doing more and more since about the 1920s, 1930s. And they take their toll. They're very, very bad for our health.
And so when you're looking at the ingredients, it won't say seed oils on there. What will it say?
It'll say corn oil, canola oil, soybean oil. It might say vegetable oil. And of course, vegetable is a euphemism. Everyone likes vegetables, right? So they call these seed oils vegetable oils. But yeah, they are on the label. And the only way to avoid them really is to avoid processed food because they're in all processed food.
Okay. And so again, another question someone said to me was like, okay, fine, but I've been eating seed oils, as you call them, and bread and all this kind of stuff for ages, and I'm not sick. So what are we saying the actual issue is by ingesting this stuff?
Well, first of all, they're highly carcinogenic. They cause cancer. We know this. And what happens when you eat these oils is they start to break down in the body into very simple molecules called aldehydes. There's one aldehyde that you're familiar with, and it's called formaldehyde, right? And what are the undertakers saying these days? That they don't need as much formaldehyde for the bodies anymore because they're already kind of pickled. And this is coming from the seed oils. So just because you're functioning out there doesn't mean that they haven't affected you. They cause cancer. They're very harmful to growing children. They lower IQ in growing children. They cause fatigue. They cause autoimmune disease. They're just really bad news. And just because you have something that's blamed on whatever doesn't mean it hasn't been largely caused by the seed oils.
All right, so let's talk about the butter and the animal fats, because when I was a little girl, that's what we had. And then I remember just being sort of a little girl still, but margarine and weird stuff coming in like that, which disgusting, always been disgusting. But
It's absolutely disgusting. And if you saw how it was made, you'd never touch it. I was very fortunate. And then my mother, she never used margarine. She said that. She said, this stuff is disgusting. We use butter in our house. But she did use Crisco for this fried chicken because they created the impression that lard was kind of vulgar and, unless you were white trash, you didn't use lard. So the Crisco did sneak in, but basically cooked in butter and olive oil.
But what happened, Sally, that we went from eating what we now know as a good diet of animal fats, we'll talk more about animal fats in a minute, but what happened to not just America, around the world, that we went from that to suddenly margarine and oils and this disgusting food we have now?
It was a deliberate campaign. We saw it happen. What they did was start to demonize things that are in animal fats that are not in seed oils. And what's in animal fats? Cholesterol and saturated fat. And these are not in the seed oils. So these were demonized, and we became to think that they caused, first of all, heart disease, which is just absolutely not true. And cholesterol is, our best friend. We should be eating cholesterol. We need cholesterol. By the way, we make estrogen and testosterone out of cholesterol. Guys, you really want to take a cholesterol lowering drug and lower your testosterone. Babies need cholesterol. They can't make their own cholesterol. The third ingredient in milk replacer for calves is animal fat, because they know these calves will not grow right without animal fat. But there's no animal fat in human baby formula. So the animal fats, the competition was demonized by this anti-cholesterol propaganda.
So what about cholesterol? Because I have members of my family who get it on the vaccine issue, but they're all on cholesterol, whatever drugs that they take.
Yeah. These drugs are terrible. They have horrible side effects, starting with infertility, erectile dysfunction, because you can't make hormones anymore, muscle wasting, nerve degeneration. We need cholesterol for our muscles to work. We need cholesterol for our brains to work. We need cholesterol the brain, physical brain is very high in cholesterol. It's supposed to be, because we need that cholesterol. So what we've seen happen in this country is exactly what you would think, by giving up the healthy animal fats and going to the toxic seed oils.
So is it all about selling cholesterol lowering drugs? And also, who made up the bar that says you've got, you're whatever, I don't know what the stats are, 200 and whatever, and you should be at this? Who made that up?
It was, I'm trying to think of his name. He was head of the National Institutes of Health. He picked that number, 200. Because he said, otherwise we won't have enough people to test. My colleague, Mary Enig, was there and heard him say this. They were saying, well, let's make it 240. That's the average. And he said, no, we have to make it 200. Well, now they just give those drugs to everybody, because no matter what your cholesterol is, it's obviously too high. And if you've had any kind of heart problems, they will give you cholesterol statins, even if your cholesterol is very, very low. And the death rate for people with low cholesterol is much higher than the death rate for people with high cholesterol.
And what about the statins? I mean, I know you're not an expert on that, but I mean, they must be full of horrific stuff.
They should not be. That's a drug that should be completely banned. It has no purpose. It does not prevent heart disease. We've seen over time the data on this. They don't prevent heart disease. They cause a lot of illness. There's absolutely no reason to give them, except that the bonus that the doctors get if they're in a practice depends on them writing these prescriptions.
It's disgusting. And also they put the fear into them. People are petrified. You're going to die. You're going to die if you eat any more butter, if you touch that. So how should we live then? So if you were coming into my house and you were going to stock my fridge up or whatever, what would you put in there?
A butter, of course. A full fat raw milk. There'd be some cream in there, plenty of eggs, egg yolks, the meat with the fat on it. all these wonderful foods. You know, we talk about Weston Price. He studied traditional cultures, and one of the food combining rules that you read about in traditional cultures was they never ate lean meat. They thought that lean meat was toxic. And if they killed an animal that was too lean, they threw it away. And they always ate the fattest part of the animal, the fatty organs, and they saved the fat to eat that with the lean meat.
I was telling Sally before we came on air that my chiropractor told me to be careful how much raw milk I was drinking because it can make you fat, which I know I'm not a Slim Jim. I mean, I don't want to be a slim.
You don't, not at, you know, as we grow older, as women grow older, you should gain weight, especially at menopause. You should gain a couple of dress sizes. Because otherwise the tendency is you'll be frail, and you don't want to be frail, and you don't want to have wrinkles either. You want to have a good layer of fat under all of your skin. But I'll tell you about a study. This was never published, but my colleague Mary Annig told me this. The Department of Agriculture did a study to see what foods would make pigs get fat, because that's, you know, that's what they wanted. They wanted fat pigs. And when they fed the pigs whole milk, the pigs would not get fat. They stayed lean. When they fed the pigs skim milk, the pigs got fat really fast. So what we should be doing is we should have a milk production. Human beings should drink the whole milk. We should make butter and make cream, and then we have this skim milk left over as a waste product that should go to the pigs to make the pigs fat. Then we have all this wonderful fat in the pig. You know, there are components in animal fats that we can't get anywhere else. One of them is called arachidonic acid. It's in butter, it's in lard, it's in tallow. And arachidonic acid is the fat that we make endocannabinoids out of, our own natural marijuana feel-good chemical. We have receptors for these endocannabinoids in the brain, of course, but all over the body. They're very important for the immune system, but there are feel-good chemicals. And we cannot make endocannabinoids unless we're eating animal fats. It's just, that's the fact. So,
it's
know,
so
why are we such an addicted culture? Because we don't feel well. We're not making the natural marijuana that our bodies are supposed to make.
It's so good to have you on, Sally, to put these facts right, because it's constant and a lot in our movement as well. There,
Yeah.
you know,
Another thing that you get exclusively from butter. You can't get it anywhere else. You can't get it from coconut oil. You can only get it from butter, and that's something called butyric acid, which is essential. It's very important for digestion, but it's essential for thyroid function. And butter is the absolute most important food for your thyroid gland. And here we're seeing 1 person in 2 in this country has some kind of thyroid problem. I gave a lecture once and talked about butter, and a guy came up afterwards, and he said my mother grew up in the goiter belt. That's where there was a lot of thyroid problems, in a village in Romania. And she was the only person in the village who didn't eat butter. Everyone else ate lots of butter, but she hated butter. And she was the only person in that village who had a goiter, who had this severe thyroid problem. And she didn't eat butter. I'll never forget that comment. So butter is highly protective of the thyroid gland. And of course, the thyroid gland is what boosts your metabolism, gives you energy, and keeps you from gaining too much weight.
it's so opposite to what everybody is telling us.
Everybody says, yeah. Well, butter is one of the problems is that the industry, they don't want to sell butter. They don't make any money on butter. They don't want to sell whole milk. Why should we give whole milk to growing children? You know, we don't make any money on the butter fat when we do that. What they want to do is take the butter fat out and put it in ice cream. And they make at least 5 times more on that butter fat if they put it in ice cream. So the decisions on how we feed our families, our growing children, the ones who need that fat the most, they're being made by accountants. They're not being made by loving parents. They're not being made by nutritionists. They're being made by accountants.
So, Sally, do you recommend that people just don't go go to a supermarket and buy probably 90% of the foods in there.
That's right. Yeah, cook yourself. I tell you, put butter on everything. I think we should have a tablespoon of butter with each meal. That's 3 tablespoons a day. I tell you, you won't be craving the ice cream, and you won't be having to get this butter fat that you need from ice cream full of sugar if you're eating butter every day. Put it on your vegetables, put on your potatoes, put on your meat, drink whole milk. I guarantee you'll feel better. You'll feel happier. You need those fats to feel happy.
And once again, for the women who did not quite hear what you said earlier, which is the best news ever, we are supposed to have a layer of fat on us.
Yes, that fat is a stem cell factory. We've learned a lot about fat in the last 20 years, and fat produces stem cells, and this is what repairs things and keeps your body in good form, because the stem cells are constantly going to places that need repair and repairing things and turning into heart cells or eye cells or whatever. And that fat, it keeps you from being frail. You should gain 2 dress sizes when you go through menopause, and they do. Every woman does, if they're not torturing themselves with some kind of low-fat diet. And this happens in traditional cultures as well. The women, they get strong. They have other duties now that they've stopped having children.
Yeah, like looking after your grandchildren.
Like looking after Dr. Price has this wonderful photograph of a woman, a grandmother. She has 3 daughters and several grandchildren, and they all live together as a family. And she goes out fishing every day, and this to support her family. And this is one strong woman. She has big muscles. She couldn't do that if she were on a diet and trying to stay thin.
No. We can't be all thin and scrawny, everybody. So butter, get your good butter in. There's a lot of bad butter out there.
Well, try to get a grass-fed butter, and that's a good thing that's happened. We can get Kerrygold, we can get New Zealand butter, you can get Kirkland butter. It's out there. I'm looking forward to the day when we can all get raw grass-fed butter, which you can in California and a few other states, but there's more work to be done for sure. But the grass-fed butter, that's kind of taken off, and it really is available.
Now, Sally, tell us about your website and what people can expect to find on there. And also, you have a conference coming up this year.
Oh, thank you, Polly. So the Weston A. Price Foundation, it's westonaprice.org. It's just a huge website. Anything we've ever published is on that website. And we do have a tour for newcomers. Hope you'll become a member and receive our magazine, our quarterly magazine, and all of our information. Then we have 2 other websites. One is realmilk.com that helps you find raw milk all over the United States. We get 100,000 new visitors a month on that website. And then the other one is wisetraditions.org, and that's for our yearly conference. And we put on a wonderful conference with great food. The conference includes 5 meals, great speakers, great camaraderie, and that is wisetraditions.org. And our conference this year is in Salt Lake City from October 17th through 19th.
It's amazing, all the work you do. I'm glad you brought up where you can find your raw milk as well.
Yeah.
When's it going to be that we have states where this raw milk is accepted as something?
Well, we've made huge progress on raw milk. When we started, raw milk, farmers could supply raw milk by selling, by pet milk, or by herd shares in 27 states. And now we're up to 47 states. So it's and one of them is Nevada, which is sparsely populated, and one of them is Rhode Island, which is very small. The third one is Hawaii, and we're really working on Hawaii this year. But it's so much more available than it used to be.
Okay, and one last question for you. It's a bit of a random question, but one that was asked to me recently. So a mother looking with her child that's 1 or just over 1 year old, looking to wean off breastfeeding, is raw milk a good next step?
Oh, absolutely. That you wean onto raw milk. After all, what's breast milk? It's raw milk. Okay. And that'll be a beautiful, healthy, strong child. The raw milk helps prevent allergies, asthma, infections, ear troubles. It's a highly protective food.
Well, and also I think very, very few people actually can't breastfeed, but you do have a formula, don't you? I heard.
Yes, we have a formula made from raw milk. It's one of the most visited pages on our website. Just put in raw milk formula and you'll find it. And with the recipe and all of the testimonials and so forth, questions and answers. And that, I reckon that formula has brought up and saved about 20,000 babies. They just thrive on this formula. This sounds like heresy, but sometimes they do better than on breast milk. If the mother is not very healthy and not producing really nutritious breast milk, this formula can save the day.
Yeah, I can imagine, especially with the mothers that took the COVID shot and trying to breastfeed with all that spike protein. Yeah.
Yeah, they come out in the breast milk. So, yeah.
Well, to our viewers, Sally has agreed to come on with Bella to talk on mothers to be. So you will see them on a future. And they will talk a lot more about nutrition and pregnancy and all of these kinds of things. So we'll go more in depth with that at a future episode coming up. But Sally, Fallon Morell, thank you for everything you and all of your organization do.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Well, we hope to see you at the conference, Polly.
Love to be at the conference. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody watching as well, thank you as well for being here and listening. I know you all love Sally very much. So Sally, thank you for everything that you've done again, for being on this morning. Okay, everyone. So now we are going to go to another tragic story of Jonas. He was 18 months old and passed away after his vaccines. We will continue to tell these every single day until the world gets the danger of vaccinations. But Michael Caine will be with you tomorrow morning. Big love from us all at CHD TV. Pray big, stand firm, never settle, and we'll see you tomorrow. We're starting off the story with a very sad story. I'm going to show you a picture of it's you with your grandson, yes? So I'm showing We Are Vaxxed here. How long ago was that taken?
Well, a couple of years, I suppose.
A couple of years ago. There he is with his grandson, who I'm afraid to tell you this is not a happy story. This is a very, very sad story. And one of many. All right, so what was his name?
Jonas.
Jonas, okay. And how old was he when he passed away?
Just after his 18-month shots.
Just after his 18-month shots. Yeah. Okay, so why don't we start talking about Jonas? You're his grandfather. What was he like as a child?
Quiet, funny, just normal kid.
Was he your first grandchild?
No.
So you had others? Fourth. Yeah. And was there anything wrong with him? Was he a happy child? As in, did you think, oh my gosh, this child, has any underlying conditions, as they call?
No. Pretty normal. He was quiet, but just really paid attention. He was inquisitive. He was always kind of watching others and kind of sizing things up without a lot of involvement on his own. It was an observer, I think.
But as a grandfather, did you ever look at your little grandson and think he's not quite right, or did you think
No.
He's just like the others?
Yeah, pretty similar. Yeah.
Now, so this is your daughter's son.
Mm-hmm.
And what was all of your family thoughts on vaccines? Did you have any thoughts on them?
I did. I always did. And my daughter was actually starting to come around with some of this stuff. Which is a little too late, but she was already kind of starting to lean this way, that was not a good idea to vaccinate.
And is this was Jonas her first child, or? No, okay, sure. Third child, okay. And the others were vaccinated to this point. Okay, so she went in and took a little boy in for his 18-month shots. We're not in touch. We just think that whatever was on the schedule at the time.
Yeah, I don't know a whole lot about it. I know MMR was one of them, and that's the one that I'm suspicious of, I think. But just the battery of all those things that they.
And what happened afterwards?
He got sick. Just the kind of the standard, the very common deal. He was very lethargic and tired and sleeping a lot, and he just never got well.
And then she found him in his cot, I'm presuming. How did it happen?
He was actually sleeping on a couch. They all kind of crashed on the couch that evening, and in about the middle of the night, she woke and he was not alive. He was already gone.
Has anybody reported this as a vaccine adverse effect? No.
No. The reason is I shortly after his death, I asked right away. I said, did he have his shots? And in my daughter's defense, she was scared to confess that he had. So we didn't know. I wasn't made aware of that. About a month later, she made a tearful confession that she had given him his shots. He got sick and he died.
Had she stopped vaccinating?
Yeah.
So she's not. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what she tells me, and I trust that she has. This is pretty powerful evidence.
There is still time to report this. So I'm going to see if I can get you in contact with the right people. But
I think we should.
You know, this is such a tragic shot. I'm just going to show you guys one more time. You know, what a beautiful boy on his grandfather's shoulders. He should be starting preschool or whatever they do right now, you know. And no one taking responsibility of this as usual. What did it say on his death certificate? Said?
I don't know. Not sure.
But it wouldn't have said vaccines.
No, I'm sure it didn't.
Well, is there anything that you want to tell the people about the loss of your grandson? Is there any advice you can give parents? Because that fear you talk about in your daughter is a huge fear that many young parents have today.
Yeah. I think don't be intimidated. I mean, they'll tell you it's the law in places where it's not the law, and they'll tell you they can't attend school and you're a bad person. There's ways around all this. You have to do the right thing. You have to resist the fear or the embarrassment, or just don't vaccinate. It's no good.
Because death, and this is what I don't think people understand, you know, it's a real consequence of vaccinating. It's on the insert. It's there. If people even get the insert out and look, that is there. You are being warned.
Oh yeah, the insert says it right there, you know. Yeah, I think they all get sick, and some of them die. My grandson died.
I'm really sorry. We're all really sorry. You're getting a lot of support and love right now from the people watching you right now. I'm very, very grateful to you, because as we were talking about outside, I can't imagine your pain for your daughter and your grandson and everybody involved. So we really, really appreciate you coming and telling us this story. We're going to put his picture on the bus. How do you spell his name?
Jonas.
As you would expect.
No thanks necessary.
I'm just going to put this up right now.
Okay.
I'm going to put him next to Aliviana. And I'm going to show you how much love you're getting, because it's very important you see this. See? All those hearts that are coming right in for you right now.
Oh, that's nice, yeah.
So they're saying they're going to remember Jonas and they're never going to forget, and I know that we are Vaxxed as well. We're doing the same thing. Okay? Big love from them. And thank you so much for talking about it. It's a horrific situation that could have been prevented.
Absolutely.
And you need to actually see this back, because the hearts are coming in more and everywhere. Okay, thank you. Nice. We're going to come off Periscope, and we are Vaxxed on YouTube, and we'll be back soon.
Autism destroys families, and more importantly, it destroys our greatest resource, which are our children.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
pledged to find out what is driving the country's rise in autism.
Compiling medical records from a number of databases. He'll direct resources to study environmental factors, exposures, and external factors.
Scientific progress on this has been slow because scientists are frankly scared to ask the question.
Genes don't cause epidemics. You need an environmental toxin, and we're going to look at all the potential culprits.
With no
a priori thumb on the scale, you can't look at that.
I'm very grateful to the Secretary for finally saying from an important public platform that this is an epidemic and we need to find the causes and we need to stop it.
Other issues DHC has been pushing for years are finally gaining mainstream traction.
Today we're announcing we are removing industry members, pharma members from FDA advisory committees.
We're seeing reports that you're considering removing the COVID vaccine as a mandatory shot for children.
The recommendation for children was always dubious. The vaccine itself does have profound risk of myocarditis, pericarditis, even strokes.
Very, 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 very few people are still taking these things. In that sense, the mRNA vaccines for COVID in the marketplace are effectively dead.
We are working together to change the fetal fluoride recommendations, and we're looking at the science now. There's a direct inverse correlation between fluoride exposure and low IQ in children.
Health officials announced plans to phase out 8 artificial dyes from our food supply.
The FDA is effectively removing all petroleum-based food dyes from the U.S. food supply.
We don't have a surveillance system that actually works, and that is a crime. And we will do that right away. And I understand the perverse incentives that need to be changed right away.
When there's a political will to answer a question like this, it will happen.
We're going to change things for real.